Hey everyone, Carol Marie here at Blue Seed Studios, bringing you the version for middle school and high school project for today. Today's project number 4, we're going to be making a hard-covered single signature pamphlet stitch artist book. Did you get all that? Good. So as always, you'll have plenty of instructions, and you may see me turning my head during this video just because I'm checking my instructions to make sure they make sense to what I'm doing and transferring. So pardon my look away at times. Okay, so like I said, in this project, we're creating a signature hardcover book. And what is that? This is what a book is. And I want to emphasize an artist book. An artist book is a book made by people who like to make art. And some of the reasons for making your own book is, well, it's fun. And it makes really nice gifts. They're very personal. There's just a million reasons. I won't get into them. But this is what we will be making. It has a front cover and a back cover. It has inside the end sheets. And in the middle is the signature. And I'm going to go through these a little bit slower and independently. I just also wanted to show you some other artist books that are in my collection. And these are hardcovers, but they're done all in different ways. I just want to show you the versatility that's contained in book arts. Here there's letterpress, so there's actual text. Some of these, they were made by hand, the art, and then they were digitally created and bound between the hardcovers. You can also, we did a soft cover earlier, and this is an example of a soft cover book, beautifully made by my friend Robert Walp at Chester Creek Press. Check him out. It's Bob Walp at Chester Creek Press. And he made this beautiful portfolio with a band. So just to show you the different ways where you can go with these techniques I'm showing you, but it all starts just with these basic principles, these simple principles that I'm showing. And this, you see they all have different ways. This is an open spine with an Ethiopian stitch. And here we call this a closed spine book. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. Before you even start your book, in your kits, everything will be, the decisions will be made, your size, your paper, important things like that. But if you're doing it on your own, I'm going to pretend that maybe you don't have any materials and you need to learn how to work with the necessary materials to make this hard-covered single signature book. All right. The first thing is your paper. We're using plant-based pulp-made paper, which means that it's archival, it's alkaline. Paper made like this from newspaper or the telephone book is tree pulp, and it's acidic. And you can see over time that it degrades and it turns yellow. And that's because of the acidic nature of the paper and the type of paper. Tree pulp is acidic, so plant-based is not. Cotton mostly, flax, things like that. And then these were marbled. Here at Blue Seed, we give marbling workshops at times. So paper, very important. The size of your book, the bind you're going to make. Here we're doing a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. So all that's important. Once you choose your paper and the size of your book, you have to keep in mind the grain which way the grain is flowing. So in your kit, you're gonna see your paper has lines in it. And here the paper is not lined yet. You need to check the grain. The grain is checked by bending the paper. And the grain, with least resistance, that has more of a bounce than this. So I'm hoping the grain is running this way. And so you make the lines all the way down so that when you cut it into smaller pieces, you know which way it's going. Because once it's into small pieces, it's kind of harder to check the grain. Okay, so we're all good on that, right? So our book parts are, you have the head, the toe, or tail, I'm sorry. This is the spine, okay? And then we have the foredge. The foredge is where the book opens. And inside, we have our backing board. In this case, it's mat board. That makes good, it's archival. There are many other types of binder board on the market. For instance, this is what I use in my books, and I get it from Book Supply or Art Supply Company. It's a little more rigid. On the packaging, it tells you which way the grain is going, but as soon as I take it out of the package, I put the lines on. So and there's all different kinds of paper depending on what you're making your book for. And again, you check your grain, which way you feel it's going. See, it's a little stiffer this way and very flexible this way. So I ripped the grain, and the grain is going this way, okay? You size and rip or cut your paper. Just in case if you have not seen paper ripped, I'll do it quickly. I have it in another project. But you make your measurements depending on what your size of your paper is. Okay, so then I would mark like 3 dots or 2 dots, or unless you have a self-healing mat like this, but I'm just gonna do this quickly. So let's say that's how much I want to rip off. And then you hold your ruler down and you pull at a diagonal, not straight at you this way, diagonal into the ruler, and you get a nice ripped edge. It gives a nice kind of fun aesthetic. Some people like it clean, and if you like it clean, you can just use a paper cutter. In the kits, the paper will be cut because we're not gonna hand rip 100 million sheets of paper. I'm sure you'll understand. Okay, so the backing board, you see that I have the grain marked. I have my cover sheets. This is what will cover the boards. I have prepaid my signature. Now, a signature is the paper, which I folded and scored, and I will show scoring in a moment, that are nested inside each other. And this is considered a signature. It's a single signature. Some of the books I showed you, like this one, for example, has multiple signatures, and they're stacked on top of each other. And that's a whole nother way to bind a book, which we're not doing today. It's a Codex bind if you're interested. But okay, stay focused on this. Now our end sheets in this project, which you'll get a butterfly and this dragon, okay? And you can use one for your end sheet, and then you can color the other. And then when the book is made, you can color your end sheet, which I thought would be kind of fun. I just want to show you an example, going back to the grain real quick, why it's important. I don't know if you can see how that bounces up? That's because yesterday when I made this book, I was in a little bit of a hurry during the demonstration, and I did not check the grain properly. And here's the sample I had with a little arrow showing which way the grain was. See how it's a little tense there? And this is what happens. My book won't close, no matter what. When the grain is done properly, this is how it should look, nice and flat like that. So that's why after doing all this work, and going through all the costs of your material, you don't want to have it do that. Oh well, live and learn. Okay, here we go. So I went over the basic turns of the book, the spine, the turn-ins. I have an example of some cover boards that I had covered, and these are the turn-ins. It's the overhang of the sheet, okay? And I'm telling you all this now because once I start gluing, I don't have time to explain things. You'll see how that goes. So with this is the cover sheet. I'm gonna stand up, and you can see that I made a border with on my cover sheet, because once I have my glue, I can't be messing around how this goes. So I made a 1/2-inch border. This one I went all the way around, and on this one I just did a right angle, so that when this is all glued, you just drop it in there. And then these are the turn-ins, and they flip over and they'll cover your board. But you're gonna have to make like these angle cuts, which I'll show you in that. It's much like wrapping a gift. Okay, so I have everything prepared, which is really important when you're starting, is to have everything prepped and ready to go. So I have my cover sheets with my end boards. These are my examples. I can take them out of the way. You're gonna need wax paper. So I'm gonna pull some wax paper out now and not do it while I'm gluing. The wax paper is to protect different parts of your book from the glue, okay? So I'm just gonna stand up and get some of this stuff out of the way. You're gonna need scrap paper, which I will put in your kit, but also which works great as leftover telephone books. So I'm going to use that when it comes to gluing. I have my brushes. I have paper clips or clothespins to hold my signature together while I'm stitching and gluing. This was extra paper, which I might use at the end to add some decorative elements. I have scissors. If you have an X-Acto knife, it's really good, or a utility knife. You don't need this, but it works. You can use your scissors instead. And this is your popsicle stick. I did this. You'll have to do this if you want. You can add a little point to your popsicle stick with your utility knife, but it's great for scoring and gluing. So your popsicle stick is very necessary. I have safety pin to poke holes. I have dental floss for my thread. I showed in the last video about waxing and using binder thread. That's what's normally used, but in this case, dental floss can work. And my needle. So I think I'm all set. I have my ruler. I don't need a template, and hopefully this is gonna work. Okay, I'm gonna stand up and not jiggle the paper, and here we go. So I talked to you about the paper. You tear your paper to size, which I demonstrated, and prep that. So this is how you now cover the boards, okay? You're gonna take scrap paper, all right, and put it down, and you're going to take your cover board. Book artists use this neutral pH adhesive, Lineco, but this Elmer's School glue will work fine. I'm gonna pour some in a cup, okay? And what I also should have is some water, which I don't have, but I'll go get. I have some wipes though, so that's important. So now I'm gonna glue. This is how you do it, okay? Get the glue on your brush, and you start in the middle and you go out. And you do not want to get the glue. You don't come back and forth like that. go in one direction. That way you're not going to miss any spots, and you're getting the glue everywhere. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm not going to leave my brush here where I can touch anything. I'll put it here. What I'm going to do is move the glue out of the way. I'm going to pick up the board. I so far don't have any glue on my fingers. See this scrap paper? Just get rid of it. It served its purpose. If you get glue on your cover paper or on your signatures, it won't come off. And then all that work is kind of done. So then I put the cover board down. Now it doesn't matter if you have the lines up or down. It doesn't matter which way you put them on. But what does matter is I'm going to take my wax paper and my popsicle stick, and I'm going to massage and get that on. This is fun to do, even if you're not making a book, just to cover boards. You can make a card. You can put decorative paper on the other side, write a poem, put a photograph, all sorts of fun things. Okay, now we're gonna do the turn-ins in a second, but I think I will do both boards, okay? So do both boards. So again, I'm going to put the board down. I'm gonna bring back my glue very carefully. I'm going to use my popsicle stick because I don't want to get it on my fingers. This way, going from the center out, you're just, you're making sure you're getting everything covered, and you're not making, sometimes the glue can make glue textures under the cover sheet, and very rarely, but can show up through the paper. Move everything out of your way. Make sure you don't have any glue on your hands. Just like that. Oh, I see I missed a spot. I missed the spot. If I missed that spot, it would leave an air pocket and it would bubble up. So you don't want to miss any spots. Okay. All right. Get my hair out of my eyes. Pick up my sheet without trying to get it on, glue on my fingers. Get rid of these. Get my sheet here very carefully. Put it down. I have my guides already prepped. Once it's down, it's down. You can't really pick it up. That's another reason why you want to have everything prepped and ready. And you can see I'm moving pretty quick with the glue. Now you have some drying time, but not a lot. It doesn't it's not instant. And you know, you may be able to pick up the paper, but I don't know, it's not the best thing. Okay, you can see I have some air bubbles and pockets there. So I'm gonna try to massage that all out. I didn't even check the other one. And the reason you use wax paper over with the bone folder or your popsicle stick, because it could tear or streak or leave marks on your cover sheet, which isn't fun. So I think I got it okay. All right, hopefully this one's okay. I didn't even really check it very good. Okay, all right. Ta-da! Congratulations, you put your cover sheets on. All right, what's next? We gotta fold it in. So we're gonna use the turn-ins, and this is how you do it. First, either use your popsicle stick and make little angles like this, like little 45-degree angles. Okay? So you try to make them as equal as you can. got that. Now you can, with your scissors, just clip these off, or while you were doing that, you could just hold it there and use your X-Acto blade and cut it off like that. Okay, save your little corners. These are your little corners, and if your ends don't match up, they'll help you cover your, because you do not want the, go on the opposite side of the line. Don't cut on this side of the line, and don't cut on the line. Try to cut like that, so the line is showing. Cool. All right, saving my little corners, and I'll show you why. Okay, the next thing is you might want to like score a little bit around. It always aids in folding. Okay, now we're gonna glue the turn-ins, okay? Do one side, I'm gonna do the long sides and then the short sides. I can't remember if there's a rule about that or if that's just the way I like to do it. You can research that out or look. I believe for some reason, I think it was the way I was taught, so it's probably the way I'm doing it, and it, you know, it works. So watch how I'm doing this. I'm going in one, I'm not going I'm just going in one direction, and I'm just barely getting glue on the back cover because you don't want it sticky yet. And then I'm gonna carefully place my brush down and use your popsicle stick, and lift it up, okay? Lift it up and then push in that direction. And then go from the middle to the end. And really, I'm pushing down and kind of going like that, so that I'm getting it adhered nicely. And then I'm going to come like this and seal it. Okay. Now, I'm gonna fold this over because the glue is there. And I don't want, if I had just put it there without folding it over, the glue would get on the cover sheet, and that's no fun. And I have a little air pocket there. Maybe I missed the spot. It's not the end of the world with that. Okay? Again, I'm being very careful with the glue. See, I'm not using a lot, and I'm not letting it drip all over the place. So here we go. Dabbing it on. Voila. There. Stick. Come underneath to lift. It keeps your fingers from getting glue on them. It's just professional. You want to be a pro, right? Oops, I almost knocked my glue over. That would not have been pro. Jeez. Okay. And I'm kind of klutzy when it comes to that stuff, so I have to go extra slow and be careful because I'm notorious for knocking things over. Which, you know, is good when I was playing some sort of sport. Okay, now this is the fun part. Now I'm coming in, and I'm gonna show you one cool thing, if you can do it. You see right in here, there's like this little corner here, and I'm going to take this tool here, and you can take like a pin or something a little bit like a paper clip, and you want to just tuck that in. So I'm going to go around to each corner, and I'm just going to fold that in, and it just keeps, it'll make it so it doesn't stick out later. So here's a good one. I'm going to stand up and do it. Oops. There I go. I'm proving how. And see how I just folded it? I don't know if see like this. I just folded it up in there. Fold. I just folded, made this little crease along that edge, the top of the thing, and what that does is it just lets it fold over nice and sweet. Okay, without trying to knock anything over. Now I'm going to put this on. Guess what I'm going to do with this? I'm going to get it out of the way. and I'm going to bring you some more. So again, I'm going to use this to pick it up. And starting in the middle, there's some wrinkles in it, but I think it'll be okay. The reason you don't want too many wrinkles is because the end sheet, well, our end sheet is kind of thick, but if you have like unequal edges, it can emboss through the decorative sheet, whatever your end sheet is. So you sort of want to be careful of things that might happen, you know, might show through. Okay. We're doing good. I know this takes the longest time. I probably should have had one of these finished before I started, but you know what, whatever. What are you guys doing anyways? You're just sitting around, so why not spend an extra few minutes with me? I think it's fun. Okay, now, if you did a cool, good job, which I'm sure you did, and then you can take this and you take your popsicle stick and you, uh-oh, that one is a little pointier. You'll see that it mitered nicely together. Now, they should all meet up just like that. If they didn't, you did a couple things. You may not have left enough turn-in, and it might have been too short. Like, that's why a 1/2 inch is minimum turn-in that you'd want. And you might have cut too much of your angle wrong. So it's no big deal. But what you don't want is space. If there's a space in between the turn-ins, that's what these are for. You just put a little glue on, and I could still do this. I could still do that because it gives a nice finish, and you can take your corner and put it on. In fact, you could keep these corners because this is a different color, and I might want to, you know, put this color on this one. But anyway, so I'm going to do this again. I'm going to go quickly because I took time to explain that one, but this time I'm just going to buzz right through it, and you can watch. Or these because it's easier to fold. I can do these really fast now. Have you ever done these? So fun. If you have never done this before, it is a blast. I find it highly addictive. And my brain just goes crazy with new ideas, which I had mentioned earlier. If you have a journal or something to write down your new ideas as you're going, you should write them down because it's your muse talking to you saying, and sometimes those ideas don't come back even though you think you'll never forget it. And some of you won't, but I know I always forget things. I'm just gonna tuck this in. Okay. This is so important to throw that away. Middle to the edge. middle to the edge. One more. Again, you don't need a lot of glue. Okay. Okay, so all my edges matched up, but just in case yours didn't, I'm going to show you what I meant. So I'm just going to take a little glue and then you can put it down. Oops, didn't want to do that. Put it down like that. Okay? And you can go around, you can do that if you need to go around. I'm not going to do that right now, you get the point. I can always do that later. So I'm going to save my little cuttings. Okay, next comes putting this together. So we did the paper. Next come the signatures, okay? You can have, depending on the thickness of your paper, you can have maybe double this amount. You could have 6 sheets. I'm gonna give you 3 sheets. If you wanna add 3 more sheets on your own of regular paper or colored paper, you can. Just remember, this is the archival paper, and if you put like paper like from your copy machine or printer, that's tree-based, so eventually it might yellow and degrade, but so what? Okay, so this is what you do next. We come to our signature. We clean everything up, get everything out of the way. Just know everything. I don't need my glue right now, so I'm putting it way over there. I would have water to wash my glue out because the glue will ruin your brush. I've had many students ruin my brushes by not cleaning. So since I don't have, I forgot to put the water out. I'm just gonna make sure the glue is out with this, because by the time I get it again, it would be stiff. Plus, it's a good time to wash my hands, right? Washing my hands all the time. Before I started, and I cleaned up, I wiped the surfaces of everything. Practice good social distance at this time in our lives. Okay, I'm gonna put the cap back on the glue, because as I said, I'm good. Okay, get this out of the way, this out of the way. Okay, here we go. Signatures. Just like we did before with our stab stitch, you have to keep it together. Keep it together by using some paper clips. And this is a very simple stitch. So paper clips, these work too, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, you can measure down. This is 3 holes. So you can use your ruler and measure down. And let's see, I'm standing up again. This is 5 inches. So it's kind of all what looks good. So I'm gonna go with like 3/4 inch from the top, from the head, and 3/4 from the tail of the book. And then I'll just find a middle spot. So there's my 3 dots. Now I have a safety pin, and make sure you're in the fold. See how I'm not in the fold? I want my dot to be in the fold, not off to the side like that. So I'm glad I did that. They're all off. Probably because I used this colored pencil instead of a sharp one. So I'm just gonna poke through. Make sure your finger isn't behind where you're poking through. That. Okay, there. And that's all we're gonna do with our signatures right now. We don't stitch yet. Okay, so signatures. Next, open the paper, lay flat, find the middle, poke holes with pin. We're gonna put this safely out of the way for now. And we're gonna take our end sheets, okay? Let me see. Now my end sheet seems a little bigger, this one. I think I sized this one. Okay, this one's sized a little better. Now some people like to show off the corners, like I had this corner here. So depending on, you know, if you want to show something off on the edge, you can do that. This particular hardcover artist book, single signature, is going to have the spine exposed and sticking out like this, okay? And if this paper was more delicate, I would have put in a second hinge. I would put in a hinge now and then let the end cover, I'd put in, well, it's not a hinge, it's a spine, and then let this be over the spine. But like I did here, actually, see how this, well, no, I didn't do that there, but anyways. So this book is going to be, so now you have to decide, you know, where you want your front to be, which one's your front. And I'm going to, I think I like the blue as the front. So I am going to now make sure everything's even and get my end piece where I'd like it to be. And to me, it's just a little too, it'll be fine. Okay, so got this marked out. And now I'm going to use a pencil and I'm going to mark where this will land on my end book. So I have a pencil mark here and here, because now what I have to do is glue this down onto this. And to do that, again, I need a guide where this will land, because once it's glued, it's hard to, again, mess around. So it's glue time. Do you glue you don't glue the backboard, you glue the end piece. And another reason for that line is because you don't want the glue to go past that. So this is a little more careful. It takes a little more time. Again, going in one direction. I'm going to just start at my and then go down. And hopefully, you know what I didn't do? I didn't look to see I have the right side. So I do. So now I'm going to move this out of the way. Oh, I got another piece. I see some spots I missed. Or it could just be drying already. Now, I'm going to lay this down. Once it's down, it's down. Okay. I can trim that in a little bit. Okay. That's paper. Bone folder or came out a little crooked. So what I'm going to try to do, it's an experiment. It's not really an experiment, but you can peel this back if you have an X-Acto blade. Sometimes this works. It's ideal to just have this the right size to begin with. See, I like that better. I like that edge, and then I can do that here. This is a little tricky. That's why it's for the older kids and not the elementary kids. But I'm kind of glad that I got to show you this way, that this, you know, wasn't exact what to do, because it just happens when you're doing it. It just always happens. All right. It's starting to come off. I'll deal with that later. Okay, now it's time to do this side. Okay, now I'm going to get my other cover sheet, cover board. Yeah, it's gonna look sweet. That'll look cool. That'll work. Hopefully the grain is all going the right way. Okay, I'm gonna glue again. I'll just do this quickly without any talking. So now when I do this side, I want to make sure that these guys are lined up too, the top and the bottom. Maybe using your ruler kind of help that. Okay. This is the trickiest part. That wax paper. I'm going to put wax paper on the inside too, because I don't want any glue to squeeze out onto the other side. It's pretty good. A little off in some places there and there, but a little glue got here. Oh, well. Got a little glue right there. Just wipe it. I think it works. Okay. All right. So now we have our book. And what you need to do at this point, I'm not going to do it, but it's in the instructions, is you take your book like this, and you wrap it like this, and you see how it's kind of cupped and stuff? It needs to be underweight. So this is what you would do is, I have some heavy books here, and you would put that underweight, and then probably you should make your signatures while that's underweight for a while. Okay, let's pretend that's underweight, because you're gonna keep it underweight anyways for 24 hours. So here at Blue Seed, we have a nipping press. It's a big iron, like clamps, that big wheel like that, and you turn and it presses it right down and makes it perfectly tight. Okay, so now we're gonna put in the signature. Okay, I'm going to hold the signature in and get it where I want it to be. Okay. I'm going to take another paper clip or clothespin, hold it in place, and then I'm going to poke the holes that I made through here into the end sheet. See that? Okay. All right. Then it's pretty much all we have to do is stitch. Again, you just take your dental floss. It doesn't take much. You go here 1, 2, 3, plus a little extra. Thread the needle. Okay, now for this, you start from the back of the book. You could, if you started an inside, the tie would be on the inside. Let me find the hole. It's important to find that hole right. Need better glasses. Okay, so you start in the middle hole, pull through. This is really simple, okay? Again, you need to leave a tail so you can either tape it or hold it. You come through, next stitch. I missed the hole. And you want to keep your stitches snug, so pull straight. Again, don't pull this way or that way because you could rip the paper. Come through hole number 2 again. Somewhere it's there. Okay. Oops. It's a little clumsy, especially even if you've been doing it for a while. If it's clumsy, don't let that fall out. Okay. Yep, gets tangled up too, so don't get too frustrated. Just take your time. Come through that hole. There you go. Okay, I'm holding onto the tail and tugging straight because I want the stitch to be snug. Then finally you just come through the 3rd hole, the tail hole of the book. Okay, and then to tie it off, you go underneath, bind. Don't lose the needle. Okay. Hopefully everything's nice and snug. Before you tie it off, check to make sure your stitches look okay. It's nice and snug in there. It's not loose. And don't use colored pencil. I should have used this kind of pencil so I could erase that. But this is a demo. Take my thing off. Now I'm just going to tie it. And here you can leave the tail on or off. I've seen people add things like beads or something, bells, or there's so many ways, there's so many things, other things to do. You can, but this is just the basics. There's lots of examples. Dental floss doesn't like to be cut with scissors. There we go. Now, there's our book, but it definitely needs to be weighted. So you have to do this because it's a little clumsy right now. So you take your wax paper, this, and you have to put it under some heavy books for overnight. The heavier the better. And then in the morning, hopefully it'll look like this. This is a little bigger, but your signature, your end plates. So some of the mistakes I made, and this won't be in, your kit will be cut a little bit better. I like having that edge around the cover and the end sheet. So I'll make sure that, that these fit more properly than what I had. So you don't have to worry about doing anything funky like trimming or anything like that, especially on your first experience. So anyways, basically I think that is it, putting it together, yeah. The stitching is the easiest, but you can decorate your cover after you're finished. Let me pull it out just for kicks, because it's still gonna look a little wonk, but you can decorate it. Like you could use some of this extra paper here and put, you know, glue it down. You could take your covers. Now you could take these covers here, these corners, and put them on here like this and kind of frame it. There's all sorts of things you can do. And the fun thing with this is that you can color all inside here, which is just a little bit different in color here. Okay, so it's kind of fun. You could write a story about the butterfly or the dragon. If you don't like this as your end paper, you don't have to use it. You can use whatever, you can find some other kind of decorative paper. But the whole idea is, you know, to know how to construct and put a book together. So that's pretty much it. I hope you're all really, truly having a safe and wonderful and restful time together with your family. And I know it's difficult staying in and away and keeping this social distancing, but we can all get through this. And again, I want to thank Jessica Locke, the Chase family, the teachers, your teachers, the Saranac Lakes High School, Middle School, Elementary School District, for helping this be made possible, the Adirondack Foundation, and just, yeah, order those kits.